The first Dipsy was in 1905, but a year earlier, some members of the Olympic Club, which is still ongoing, it's the oldest athletic club in the West, it's in San Francisco, took the ferry and train over from San Francisco to Mill Valley, a rail line that had just opened up, and on the ocean, at what we call Stinson Beach now, a new inn had just opened called the Dipsea Inn. So these guys arrived in the Mill Valley train station and said, they were heading out there, and they said, let's have a little bet and see who can get there the fastest. And these two guys took up the bet, and one was named Coney and one was named Boas, and they said, gee, this is fun, let's make a race out of it. So in 1905, the first race was held. It was a very big deal. It's very complicated. This was before radio, cars, telephones. So to have a one-way race over the mountain was tricky, but the Olympic Club was very well connected, and they pulled it off, and it has gone on every year since. 6 years were missed. That's why this is the number 100 this year. 2 years were missed in the 30s during the Depression, and 4 years were missed in World War II when Mount Tam was closed. So this is the 100th running, but the first one was in 1905. One of the unique features of the Dipsy is that it started as an open course. You can go in the spirit of the original bet, you can go any way from downtown Mill Valley to the finish line in Stinson Beach.
You could get there any way you wanted. So you could take any shortcut, you could go overland, the shortest route you could find, you could run. And over the years, they've cut back on those shortcuts little by little. So now you have some choice about your route, but really most people run the same trail.
So there are some restrictions, but there's still some shortcuts and people still get creative.
There's a fabulous history of women in the Dipsy, because of that handicapping system. One year, several times young girls, 9, 10 years old, have won it.
Another thing that makes this race unique is the role of women. Women were not allowed to run distance races in the United States till 1971. The Olympics didn't have an event longer than 400 meters till 1964. Women were deprived opportunities in sports and so many other areas. But the Dipsy gave them a place. In 1918, an event was held called the Dipsy Women's Hike. They had to call it a hike because they weren't allowed to call it a race. But hundreds of women came, 5 times as many women as ran in the official Dipsy. Their times were outstanding. I have a picture of one of the winners, Emma Ryman, wearing the costume of the time. She won the race twice. The Dipsy was truly a pioneer in women's American sports history, and it should be recognized as such.
You've got the fact that, you can compare your times with people who have run the race 100 years ago. You don't have that opportunity in many sports.
I always say several things make this very special. One is the course, there are now other races on beautiful courses, but this is the pioneer of just this unbelievable course, starting with 676 steps, and every part has colorful names. There's the Swoop and Steep Ravine and the Rainforest and Cardiac and Insult the Moors. I mean, it's just this amazing course, and it's dangerous. You have a narrow trail and faster runners trying to pass on it. So not only is the roots and the steepness, but you have a lot of passing.
The Dipsy is so treacherous. It's so easy to turn an ankle or get hurt.
It's sort of a treacherous race. I mean, I've blown my ankle out on that course many times. So you have that aspect of it, which makes it very unique versus other running events. But you have the handicapping system, which is very unique.
You need to respect this handicapping or head starts. That is the essence of this. It's a little hard to explain, but until 1965, they were all individually assigned every head start. So anyone at the starting line felt they had a chance to win.
So the first people that start are the littlest kids and the oldest people. And depending on your age and gender, you get to start at different times.
Now you have to be kind of the best in your age to think you can win, but still there have been winners. Two different 9-year-old girls have won, a 70-year-old man has won, several older women, older men, all different ages and sexes have been the very first to the finish line. You get your head start, and whoever's the first to the finish line is the winner.
Yeah, as a kid, you have a chance of actually winning the race, and that was another thing that made a big impression on me, is I saw kids that were my age coming in and finishing in the top 10.
While I'm running along, like in my age group, a woman my age, I get to start sort of near the front of the pack. And so I'm starting, and right as I'm going down the steepest, narrowest downhill is when all the really fast scratch young men, scratch meaning they get no head start, so they're fast and young and mean and determined and aggressive, and they're coming up behind me trying to shove me to the side. So that's always a very exciting time in the race.
So it's kind of a survival meets handicapping system. You know, there's something at stake when you're running.
So you just don't know who's going to win. Most road races, well, the fastest guy's probably going to win again, but here you never know.
Where he said, you know, old Dipsy runners don't die, they just get to the 675th step.